Well, we'd like to thank all of you for coming today, and especially the Chicago Filipino American Film Festival organizers for inviting us to Chicago. Bessie was last week awarded one of the outstanding Filipinos Phil Americans in New York, the TOFA Awards. So it's very special for us to come here and be able to share her story with you. And we're willing to answer some questions.
Thank you, Jonathan Laksamana. Thank you, Reggie, my sister from Chicago. Reggie Astorga for picking us up from the airport and giving us rooms at the Wyndham. It's really, really nice. I'd like to live there forever and ever. And what else? And thank you to everyone. I know it's Friday night, and I know that you have lots of happenings, but thank you for sharing your evening with us. If you have any questions, technical questions are for her, for my very famous writer-director. She's actually, most of you would know who she is if I say that she was the very first recipient, or the very first person to be given the Jim Henson and Sesame Street franchise in Asia, and she created and directed Batibot. So she's more famous than I am, actually.
We'd start with questions, but I guess if you want to think about your questions, we can start with Lyca. Could you tell us, give us a little bit of background on how the film all came together? It seems like it's centered around when Bessie went to Carnivale, but it also it really examined, Bessie's entire life. So how did that come about?
Bessie likes to tell stories. So when she was invited to Carnivale, some friends of ours in New York from my theater company said, "Oh, that's a great opportunity, and Bessie, you can take it from there."
And I said, okay, but what are we going to do now? Let's do a documentary. And at that time, I was going through cancer, and I said, that would be a good thing to do, and keep my mind out of it. And the preparation was actually 6 months for me. I had trained with a trainer for 3 times a week. Yes, I hated him and I loved him at the same time because I lost 25 pounds and then gained it back after the Carnival. And I had to learn Portuguese. I had to go back and forth to São Paulo to learn Samalupe, because that's how you are judged. Because especially for the last one, which is Bye-Bye, I was on the Abrealas, or the opening float. So I was the main destaki, the biggest star of the 5,000 dancers. So you cannot imagine, non-Brazilian, 50 years old, dancing in a bikini on a 40-meter high float. So it was nice that we were able to do actually over 1,000 hours into 75 minutes. I told her I didn't want to cut anything, and I told Lyca, maybe we should do it fast forward so we can see everything, but of course it's not possible.
Actually, Bessie's being shy, she scored a perfect 10. I mean, the judges give every element of the Escola scores, and she scored a perfect 10. So how could we not make a program about it, right? How could we not document that feat? And the Brazilians take Carnival very, very seriously. If you're dancing it improperly, they will boo you. And she didn't get booed, as you saw.
What was the budget for the production?
Well, the husband of Lyca Benitez-Brown, Nick Brown, actually produced it. So we'll have to ask him, but he doesn't eat anymore. He lost 25 pounds right now. But I'm guessing it was expensive. So, no, we're thinking like 50,000 for the entire thing. But those 6 months of work, and it took us 2 years to put it together, because there were so many different elements in my life that Lyca wanted to put in. It's going to be like a 9-hour film, like a Love Diaz film. so it's just too long. So we just had to keep on editing and editing, and the editing actually took all of 2 years. And finally, our director here, Lyca Benitez-Brown, was happy with it. And I think you're all happy with it too.
The question was the physical sacrifice involved in all the costumes.
Yeah, especially the green and yellow one, which was the Japanese diosa de agricultura. That's the goddess of harvest. That weighed 1 balikbayan box. So I was bleeding on my shoulders. I was completely, and then I'm bleeding also on my forehead and also
They
in the
jammed
back.
the wig down.
Yeah, because the wig was big and they put it on your head. But I think the heaviest one for me, okay, the heaviest gown was the green and white. But the white one had a 30-pound, it's outside actually, it had a 30-pound headdress, which is like 6 feet, including the ostrich feathers and also Swarovski crystals, ostrich feathers, and the 4-foot pheasant feathers. It was really very tough to be on a 40-meter high float, dancing samba and balancing your head at the same time. So yes, there's a lot of sacrifice before and during the actual carnival.
But you get so swept away by the spirit of the carnival. I mean, when you're there, it's magic. You really feel, you feel the music, but you also feel the enthusiasm of the crowd. And so it just, I don't know,
You
adds
forget.
your adrenaline, yeah.
You forget your suffering.
Lyca, where were you? Were you right in the middle of everything? You were just
Right.
walking along?
No, they put ramps on either side of the Sambodromo so that the press can run back and forth. We got press passes by being accredited to a Brazilian television studio out in the provinces, and they in exchange for clips of the interview with the old man, with Sonene, who is really a revered figure in Brazil. He passed away, unfortunately, last year.
Never get to see.
But he never would give interviews, but he fell in love with Bessie. So he gave us interviews, hours and hours of interviews. And in exchange for that, we were accredited by a TV station. So we were Brazilian press passes. And the crew and I were running back and forth behind the stadium to try and catch up with Bessie's float. But when people are screaming and yelling and singing, it's really, really tough.
Okay.
So we thought we could contact each other through our cell phones. You couldn't hear anything. People were just screaming, yelling,
Singing.
and then when she was wearing the green costume, halfway down the Sambodromo, confetti came down. I don't know if you remember, but it was just a storm of confetti. So we couldn't find Bessie. The camera people were saying, "Where did she go?" And, it's very difficult when you're shooting from the ground up, but we managed. We had a very enthusiastic crew from Brazil. We had 2 camera crews from Brazil, one from the US and one from the Philippines. So it all worked out in the end.
How was it shooting in a foreign country? All the challenges, and not only shooting in a foreign country, but shooting during one of the craziest, most well-attended events on the planet.
It
Just
was,
from a producer's
it was insane. We didn't speak Portuguese. Only Bessie spoke Portuguese because she had to learn it. So we had to find a Portuguese-speaking production assistant for every camera crew to run interference for them to translate. But the Brazilians are so warm and so welcoming that they knew that we were foreigners, and they just helped us. The Brazilians in the schools helped us. The Brazilians in the stadium helped us. So it was really a love match. It was hard work, but we really, really had a lot of help from our Brazilian friends.
Was it really difficult in terms of getting permits and, is there an established bureaucracy or
Oh, yeah.
application process?
It's almost impossible to get in without having to pay your way, But especially with what you saw, most of that, even Televiglobo or CNN or BBC, will never show footage like that. Me getting on the float, they never show that. They only show the actual parade where we're all just dancing. But behind the scenes, painting all those floats and actually getting on the float, dressing up in public, you don't see that. There are so many other hours of footages that we couldn't show because, censors, because and you don't want to see me naked, I don't think so. You'll all run away. Am I still dancing? Dancing is part of my life, I still do ballet, I still dance samba rupe, which is samba by yourself, practically alone, and I also do, but I'm also doing a lot of other things like Brinoy music, which is Brazilian Pinoy music. And in fact, I brought some CDs outside, and I started writing Brazilian music. Actually, I wrote the lyrics in Tagalog. We used original Brazilian songs. We had a Brazilian band, all Brazilian band, record all these beautiful songs. And I got to sing my own lyrics. And it's all funny. It's about, everyday life, about Botox, about addicts on Facebook, about adobo, everything but in samba and in bossa nova. So as I sing, I also dance. And yes, I'm still dancing.
No, but one thing that you might find interesting is Bessie, a little over a month ago, she started a Facebook page called Come Visit My Philippines. And in a month, they have over 25,000 members. You should see it. It's a beautiful site. It's a really wonderful site.
You should all join, actually. Come Visit My Philippines. It's the best virtual tour of our country in the internet. In fact, Mrs. Abby Jimenez, the wife of DOT Secretary Mon Jimenez, and the Secretary himself are members now. And once in a while, they will put out, posts, shout-outs to all the members. So I think you will all like it. You will never see the 7,107 islands of the Philippines the way you will see it in this tourism advocacy group. So please join. Come visit my Philippines.
So I think the other part of the question was, what other projects are you involved with, Lyca?
I just married my daughter off. So this is my biggest production this year. No, I'm also a volunteer on the board of the Mai Theater Company in New York, which provides a platform for Asian playwrights. And so I've been busy doing that. This has really taken my life for the past few years. And I do special projects.
She does bar mitzvahs and weddings, baptisms. You want something like that? Paseco Bacal Boys is my very first production, and it won the most awards for the year 2009. It's the most awarded indie film in the Philippines. And last year, 2010, it won the biggest award, Best Picture of the Decade. So you don't miss that because and bring a towel because you're going to cry a lot. 4 o'clock. No, I produced it with the director. The director is Ralston Hover. He's more known to be the winning scriptwriter for Brillante Mendoza. He wrote Foster Child, which was in Cannes Film Festival. He also wrote Tirador, which was also in the Cannes Film Festival. And another one that went to Cannes Film Festival was Cobrador with Miss Gina Pareño. It was directed by Jeffrey Deturian. So Bacal Boys is his debut film. Yep. So and I produced it.
Come to festivals like this.
Yeah, to come to festivals like this. This Chicago Film Festival, I think, after 8 years, is the best in the U.S. It's being a lot of other cities are pattern. They're taking the same pattern and copying Jonathan's Baby, and they're trying to do the same thing. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to say thank you to Allstate for the cakes and the goodies. Thank you so much. You're making fat. That was nice. Thank you.
Any others?
Nobody asked if I have a boyfriend?
Do you have a boyfriend?
No.
So there's only one more show tomorrow, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Please tell your friends, family and friends, yeah. It's a very wholesome documentary, so you can bring, 2-year-olds, it's fine, we love children, so let's try and fill this entire theater because it's 1,300. We can do it.
The idea of sharing your life in this way, how did you feel about that? What kind of motivated you to do that?
In the beginning, we were so scared, I was scared to actually talk about abuse. And we were talking about it for a long time. And so we had to ask my children. They had to watch the movie. And they said, Mom, we're not comfortable with this. So we had to re-edit and do it again. And so finally they saw this version and they loved it. They said, there is abuse, it was abuse, but there's also redemption in the end because he became a nice guy, so it's very difficult because Jonathan, it's almost like you're naked. You're showing everybody your nakedness, but it's true, it's honest. So, and I think everybody liked it. Yes.
Well, we'd like to thank you for watching. You're only the second public viewing that we've had of this film. We only started, we premiered it last month in New York, and you're only the second audience to watch it. So we're really grateful for your response and your action. And thank you for inviting us. Larry?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Well, I was there for 13 years, so a lot of it, from kindergarten, preparatory, 1st grade to 7th grade, 1st year to 4th year, it really built up the character in me, and I think I'm strong, and I'm a woman with so much power because of St. Scholastica's. And my mother is Scholastican too, that's why. And all my sisters are Scholasticans too. I really wanted to go to the university of the Philippine Women's University because it's a Benitez school, but my mother is a Scholastica, so I went to St. Scholastica's. And I must say I am very, very lucky to have been educated with the Benedictine nuns. As you can see, Sister Mary Placid can do the boogie with me. And it's not only education, good education, making women to empower women, but it's also so much fun in St. Scholastica's, and I think that's very important. While you're learning, you're having fun.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess that's all the time we have. So, yes, again, please tell your friends, tell your social networks. Let everyone know about the screening tomorrow.
We'll be here. I'll be wearing the costumes tomorrow.